Can y'all hear me without the mic? Can you hear me okay?
They won't hear me though.
They won't hear you. Jim is a low talker, so I have to strain to hear him myself. This is really good for me. When I wrote the Amber Room many years ago, 7 years ago. Well, I wrote it actually 14 years ago, and it got published 7 years ago. I needed a blurb, and one of the blurbs, and so my editor said, "Who?" And I said, "Well, there's this guy I really like to read," and I discovered him one day in a bookstore similar to this. There was a paperback original on the shelf, a book called Subterranean, and I pulled it off and I started reading it, and I said, "This is great." And so every year I would get a Jim Rollins book, and they started off in paperbacks, and then finally Amazonia came and it went to hardcover. I remember I was in Washington D.C. and I was in a bookstore, and there it was in hardcover. It was really neat to get Amazonia and read it. So I would read Jim Rollins books every year, and so I said, "Let's send it to Jim Rollins." Of course, he wrote back and said, "No way, how would I do that? Why would I do something as stupid as that? I'm no writer." But actually, he was very generous, and he did. He wrote me a wonderful blurb, put on the cover, so I got to meet him about 2 years later. Before I met you, we met at VoucherCon, or was it BEA? No, VoucherCon. It was VoucherCon. Yeah, we met at VoucherCon and got to be friends, and so we've been very close. We talk to each other all the time. In my new book coming this year, I got stuck, couldn't figure out what to do, and Jim and I were together, and he said, "Tell me the plot." I told him what I had, and 2 hours later we had it fixed. And you'll see a thank you in the new book from that, where it says, "To James Rollins, who thanked me from drowning in a Fijian pool." That's where it happened. It happened in Fiji to do. Figured it out. So Jim is an excellent writer. He writes. We write very similar. I have a little bit of science and a lot of history. He has a lot of science and a little history. So just the opposite of what we do. And very good stories. I was inspired by Jim to write the stories I did. I learned a lot from writing, and I never dreamed that one day I would be in a bookstore actually introducing him. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that. So let me introduce you to James Rollins.
I can't believe, Steve, that you were so generous.
I was nice to you. Yes, I was.
I have a basic peptic ulcer from just dreading what he was going to say. He's got way too much dirt on me too. Because I may have saved him plot-wise in Fiji, but he saved my life in Fiji.
Oh, I didn't say that's true. I forgot.
Well, I'll give you a little street cred.
Okay.
Because I was snorkeling, and I'm swimming, doing this, floating, and all of a sudden I hear a tug on my flipper, and all of a sudden I'm just like, I thought I was being attacked by a shark, because all of a sudden my body just jerks away, and then it's him. I'm thinking, wow, funny joke. And then there's a sea snake coming right towards us, one of the most poisonous snakes in the ocean. And it was like right here when he pulled me away. So I was like swimming straight into it, and it was persistent. We were fleeing, of course, screaming like girls. And that thing was following us for almost all the way back ashore.
Very quick too. Quick look.
So I may have saved him plot-wise, but he have to say I like that trip. But we have been good friends for a long time. And what he hasn't told you is the story behind that blurb that I'll share with you today. Is that he did ask me for the blurb for the Amber Room. Good writer. You get a lot of those things. I really enjoyed it. Happy to give it work. And he got an author not quite as famous as me. If I could be just a little bit humble. He was just selling a little bit less than me. A gentleman named Dan Brown. At the time, Da Vinci Code was not out. Shortly thereafter, Da Vinci Code comes out. The book comes out. And, bigger than Steve's name is the quote by Dan Brown across the top. Flip to the back cover underneath the barcode, and really almost indecipherable print is my quote from James Rollins back there. Well, I've never been to this store, and I always like going to stores I haven't been to, because I've been to many stores.